Apple, applesauce, apple juice. Each one is 100 calories, so it doesn't matter which one you choose. Does it? It does. When you eat an apple, you release this much insulin. When you eat applesauce, you release this much insulin. And when you drink apple juice, you release this much insulin. What the heck is insulin? Insulin is what allows our cells to receive energy. So insulin, without it, we wouldn't survive. We need insulin to survive and to have energy. But the problem is that too much insulin encourages our body to store fat. So when you eat an apple, you get the perfect amount of insulin. But when you process a food more, your body releases more insulin, probably more than it needs. And then you're more encouraged to store fat. And then when you really process a food, you're getting the boatload of insulin. So this is not to scare you away from applesauce or apple juice. It's to show you that when you eat a more processed food, your body's going to release more insulin and you're more encouraged to store fat. Hi, I'm Healthy Emmie. I'm a weight loss specialist and nutritionist, the creator of the Slim program where you can join for $1 a day to get a custom meal plan, custom workout plan, access to me. I'll answer all your questions. It's all linked down below. I'm also the creator of Slim supplements where you can get your vitamin B12 and your vitamin D3 to make sure that you have enough energy, you have a great mood, you're not feeling fatigued, no brain fog, your metabolism's front firing, inflammation is reduced. Side note, if you need help getting started, I have a completely free plate builder to tell you exactly how to build your plate for your body or unique goals. So that is in the description bar. So the first tip that I have for you is to eat whole unprocessed foods. You could be eating the same exact amount of calories, but if you switch over to eating whole unprocessed foods instead of processed foods, your body's going to be encouraged to burn more fat as opposed to store it. If you are eating 1,500 calories of processed foods versus 1,500 calories of whole foods, you're going to lose significantly more weight on 1,500 calories of whole foods. This is just one of the reasons why I'm going to talk about more later in this video, but one of them is because of the difference with how much insulin you release on whole foods as opposed to processed foods. Can you tell I used to be a teacher? So I hooked you with something cool at the beginning. That's what I've been doing in my videos lately, is giving you something cool and actionable and easy to understand at the beginning, and then let's get into the real stuff. I hooked you in. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do if you want to fix your broken metabolism, okay, you know what? Let me just give the disclaimer now. Your metabolism ain't broken, honey. Your metabolism is not broken. Metabolism is highly adaptive. The fact that we have a metabolism is what keeps us alive because it means that we are able to adapt. If we were to expand the definition of metabolism, I would add in there, it's the adaptive mechanism that allows us to survive. So its very nature is that it's adaptive. So you haven't broken it. You couldn't break it if you tried, okay? So the first thing that you need to do in order to heal your metabolism, speed up your metabolism, is you have to turn in your yo-yo dieting card. Let me show you what a yo-yo dieter does. This is the body of a yo-yo dieter, and this is the scale. This is fluid. Let's say that the yo-yo dieter has some more carbohydrates, or they have a salty meal, or it's near their period. Their body is going to soak up some extra water. Then they're going to get on the scale. They're going to see that the scale is up because what is the scale measuring? It's measuring all of that water along with their body. But because this is what we see on the scale, they think that they have gained a bunch of this, which is fat. There's a difference between fluid and fat. And because humans are 60% water, there's going to be massive fluid fluctuations from day to day. Just our very nature as humans, being hormonal, having different shifts with glycogen, and based on how much salt we eat, where we are in our cycle, you're going to hold on to different amounts of fluid. A healthy hormonal woman will gain about 5 pounds of fluid just before her period. And if she doesn't understand that it's fluid and it's not fat, then what she is going to do is say, screw it, this diet isn't working, I have to do something else. And do you know what's going to happen for the rest of their existence? This. They're going to gain weight, they're going to lose that weight. They're going to gain that weight, they're going to lose that weight. They're going to gain that weight, they're going to lose that weight. for the rest of their lives. If you want it to be the case that this fat goes out the window, then you have to commit to this being a long game. I say at least a year. At least a year of full commitment. And listen, commitment and perfection are not the same thing. Perfection only exists with the yo-yo dieter. Commitment is the person that is willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and move forward. My dad says you can make as many mistakes as you want, just don't make the same one twice. So I always encourage you, join the Slim program, give it a year, you'll be a different person at the end. From a scientific standpoint, to scare you out of yo-yo dieting, every time you lose and regain weight, there are tiny changes genetically that make it so that it is harder to lose the weight the next time. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. If your body is meant to keep you alive and you are continuously losing and gaining weight, what signal are you sending to your brain? You're sending to your brain the signal that you were in an environment of scarcity. There isn't enough food available, so you need to be good at holding on to weight. This is why it's harder to lose it every time you do, because your body has learned that there is no predictability and stability here with food. All of the more reason to ditch the yo-yo dieting, choose a healthy lifestyle and stick to it. No more of this rapid losing, rapid gaining, binge, restrict, yo-yo, because then you are teaching your body that food is a scarce resource and that it has to hold on to more fat. And before you think, well, oh no, I've yo-yo dieted a million times, so am I in the camp of people who I'll never be able to lose the weight? No, your body doesn't want to hold on to weight. Your body doesn't want to be inflamed and overweight. Your body wants to be at a healthy weight. Trust me, it wants to be healthy. So don't get into that mindset either. Potato chips versus lettuce. An extreme example of foods that have a low thermic effect and foods that have a high thermic effect. The thermic effect of food is how much energy your body uses to digest the food that it's eating. When you eat foods that are highly processed, like potato chips that have been deep fried, versus when you eat whole foods that are completely intact in their natural form, your body has to work a lot harder to digest this food. You burn more calories when you eat this food. Every time you eat, you burn a little bit of calories. Now, don't think that this isn't your new workout regime, but every time you eat, your body has to expend energy to digest that food. And when you eat food in its whole intact form, your body actually has to use quite a bit of energy in order to digest that food. So if you were to eat 1,200 calories of each of these foods, you would burn way more calories eating the unprocessed food than you would the processed food, because your body just works so hard to get all the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, work through the fiber, work through the water, work through all the roughage. Whereas this, all of the working through has been done in a processing facility. All of the calories that your body would have burned eating the potatoes that make these potato chips was done in a factory. So your body doesn't have to burn as many calories. And what is calorie burn? That is metabolism. Another thing to address is something called AMPK. AMPK is an enzyme that promotes fat oxidation. It improves insulin sensitivity. So as we talked about earlier with insulin, you want to be sensitive to insulin, meaning you don't release too much of it. When you eat whole unprocessed foods, you encourage the activation of AMPK. So you encourage your body to burn more fat, and you encourage your body to be more sensitive to insulin and not release as much. Okinawan sweet potato, Japanese sweet potato, Stoked sweet potato, Hana yam, red sweet potato, and a garnet yam. I'm filming right now a video, short form, going over all of these different tastes, textures, which one's the best, and at the same time, taking my shed hair capsule. As we know, I am obsessed with having tons of hair. I have so much hair and I need to keep it that way. So I've started taking a shed hair capsule 3-in-1. This is great for women who struggle with hair loss, but also great for women like me that want to keep this hair and prevent hair loss and get perhaps even fuller hair. So I'll link this down below. I do have a 30% off discount code. It's just a capsule you take every day. It's as simple as this. Done. So at this point, you've turned in your yo-yo dieting card and you are committing to eating whole foods. You see the benefit here of eating whole, unprocessed foods, right? We talked about insulin sensitivity. We talked about the thermic effect of food, that you're going to turn your body into a fat burning machine when you're eating whole foods. On those whole foods, let's put spices. So don't get it twisted here. When I say cinnamon turns up your metabolism and you're like, oh, well, I use cinnamon on my apple pie. No, no, no. Cinnamon turns up your body's thermostat. You know how cinnamon is a warming spice. You know how when you eat hot foods, you start to sweat? That is you seeing this in action, that spices will literally make your body burn off heat, which is what burning calories is. Heat is energy, calories are energy. You sweating is you burning calories. So not only does cinnamon help you burn more calories, but also it improves insulin sensitivity. It improves glucose control. There have been studies done on diabetics to prove that eating more cinnamon helps reduce their fasting blood glucose levels. Ginger is another great spice. Ginger is something that enhances dietary thermogenesis, which is the process of burning calories as you eat food. Because like we talked about, you have to, every time you eat, your body has to burn some calories in order to digest that food. And ginger increases that calorie burn. Ginger is also shown to help with reducing hunger. Turmeric, people are always on me for saying it's turmeric. It's not turmeric. Tomato, tomato, right? At least I spell it correctly. Turmeric contains curcumin. Make sure that you are eating black pepper with your turmeric to turn it on. We say it helps increase the absorption of curcumin by about 2,000%. And why is curcumin so important? It helps with reducing inflammation, and chronic inflammation is linked to metabolic slowdown. It's also been shown in studies that curcumin helps improve insulin sensitivity. That's Bear, if you haven't met him before. I'm a cat mom. All right, so we've established what you're eating. We've established that you're adding spices to these foods. Now the question that I get is, well, how much am I supposed to eat? How often am I supposed to eat? First, if you want to know how to properly build your plate, I have a completely free plate builder in the description where you log your information. It will tell you exactly how to construct your plate for your unique body and goals. But then I get the question of, well, how many meals do I have a day? What time am I supposed to eat? Let me show you this first. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. I see a lot of people do this, where this is their breakfast. By the way, these are how many calories you eat. So some people do this. Skip breakfast, have a coffee, lunch, no set lunch, just kind of like snacking throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, it looks like this. They are in the cabinet after dinner. They're having the ice cream on the couch, pulling out the snacks that are tucked away in the pantry, ordering things on DoorDash and Uber Eats and whatever, and eat so many calories at nighttime. If we do this instead, if we eat more calories earlier in the day, have a proper lunch, and then have a lighter dinner, guess what's going to happen during the day? Because during the day, you're moving around, you're using your body for energy, the food that you're eating, the calories that you're eating, your body's going to use up. During the day, the things that you're eating, your body's using up. And then at the end of the day, when it's time for bed and your body doesn't burn any more calories, you've had something light because you've eaten enough during the day that you don't need as big of a dinner. But because you're eating something lighter, your body's not going to just sit with all that food in its stomach during the night. And would you look at that? It's almost like I ate less calories. Versus when people do this, barely eat during the day and then eat all of their calories at nighttime, the body says, well, we're not going to use all of this, so it's more likely that we're going to store this. Let me tell you about a crazy study done in 2013. They took a group of overweight women, split them into two. They were each group ate the same exact amount of calories, but one group did this, where they had the majority of their calories at dinner later in the day, and the other group did this. Majority of their calories at breakfast, smaller lunch, light dinner. And do you know what happened? This group that had the heavier breakfast, lighter lunch, lighter dinner, not only did they lose significantly more weight, but their glucose levels were better, their insulin levels were better, their ghrelin levels, ghrelin is the hunger hormone, was lower, they had less hunger. All of their blood markers were better than the group that was eating the majority of the calories later in the day. Now, a little disclaimer here. What I don't want you to do is forcibly eat a giant breakfast if you aren't hungry for it and forcing yourself to eat. Because if you are not hungry, you shouldn't be eating. However, I do have people that say, well, I'm not hungry in the morning, and that's because they've conditioned their body into this being the case. So if you are one of those people, what I would encourage you to do is look at the time that you start eating and just start inching it back by 15-minute increments. So let's say you start eating at 11 a.m. Let's start eating at 10:45. Once we feel comfortable with that, pull it back to 10:30. We're slowly but surely going to shift you to this. Now let's talk about exercise. A lot of women make the mistake of, in their pursuit to lose weight, they do cardio, hit, just burn as many calories as possible. But actually, if you want to burn more calories at rest, you have to work on gaining more muscle, because muscle is metabolically active tissue. So you know those big guys, those huge men with huge muscles, and they just eat all day long. They can't eat enough. They can't keep the weight on them. It's because they have so much muscle that they burn so many calories doing nothing, that they have to eat enough food to keep all of that muscle on. This requires energy. The more of this you have, the more energy you're going to burn. Whereas fat is just stored energy. See, people step on the scale, they see the number going up and they go, oh my gosh, it's this. But actually, what if it's this? And if it's this, if it's muscle, then you can eat more food. Because what muscle does, if you were to eat all of this food and you have lots of muscle, instead of the energy just sitting here and getting stored, muscle is going to encourage you to burn all of that energy. So you're not storing it. Whereas fat, if you're eating excess calories, they're going to sit here and you're going to store more fat. This is why every single workout program in the Slim program, no matter what your goal is, you are going to focus on weightlifting and strength training because of how important it is to have this muscle mass, not just for the sake of burning more calories at rest, but also for longevity. Study after study after study is showing the importance of having muscle mass for longevity. So if you want to live a long, healthy, vibrant, active life, you need more of this. This is leptin, which is the hormone that makes us feel full. And this is ghrelin, the hormone that makes us feel hungry. So we all have a bit of both. If you have a lot of ghrelin and not a lot of leptin, you're never going to be full and satisfied, and you're just going to eat. Some people have what's called leptin resistance, and that's why they just never feel full. So what we want it to look like is this. Lots of leptin, so you feel nice and full and satisfied, and not too much ghrelin. Enough ghrelin to feel hunger, but not enough so that you're hungry all the time. When you sleep enough, this is what it looks like. Your leptin levels are high and your ghrelin levels are low. This is what a full night of sleep gives you. Let me show you what poor sleep gives you. This. When you don't sleep enough, your ghrelin levels, which is the hunger hormone, increases, and your leptin levels, which is the fullness hormone, decrease. Let's chat about alcohol. This has been sitting in our apartment for God knows how long. I don't drink. My fiance rarely drinks. When you drink alcohol, your body stops burning fat, your body stops burning carbs, your body only is going to focus on burning the alcohol. So let's say that this is all the fat that you want to get off your body. When you're drinking this, your body's going to say, forget about this. We have to deal with this poison that's in our bodies. It's shown that even 1 or 2 drinks can drop your fat oxidation by 70% for the next couple hours. And you get terrible sleep when you drink. So remember this leptin and ghrelin we talked about? It doesn't like alcohol. My vitamin D3 and my vitamin B12. Low vitamin D levels are linked to chronic inflammation. We talked about earlier how chronic inflammation is linked to metabolic slowdown. Additionally, if you're inflamed all the time, you're more likely to hold on to fluid, you're going to be puffier. And even if your metabolism is great, which it probably isn't if you're inflamed, but you can have very low body fat, but if you're super inflamed and puffy, then all your clothes aren't going to fit, you're not going to be feeling yourself. So supplementing with vitamin D3 is a very wise thing to do. I My D levels were in the basement because I live in Massachusetts. I rarely see the sun, and when I do see the sun, I hide from it, and this is where we get vitamin D, is from the sun. So this is my clean, no GMOs, no sugar, no oil, no gross stuff. That is linked in the description. And then there is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is linked directly to your energy levels. If you're feeling low energy, you're not going to be moving around. You won't even notice. It is so sneaky, the difference in NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, between somebody who has sufficient energy and somebody who doesn't. For example, I'm having this conversation right now, moving my hands. Somebody that doesn't have a lot of energy isn't going to move their hands as much, so they're not going to burn as many calories. When you are feeling energetic, you're going to burn more calories because you're naturally going to be moving more. You're going to be more inclined to work out. You're going to get a better workout in. So making sure that you get enough vitamin B12 is essential as well. 43% of the population is deficient in vitamin D, and it's estimated that this around the same percentage has low levels of B12. So of course, always consult your healthcare provider, but my supplements are linked in the description bar. Don't forget to get your free plate builder in the description bar. You can also join Slim for $1 a day and get your supplements. If you like this video, you're gonna love the next video that pops up on the screen. Let's talk some more about that metabolism of yours. If you made it to this point of the video, I want you to comment a green emoji. See what my favorite green emoji is. Ooh, I love the green tea emoji. It is just such a vibe. Let me search green in emojis. I love the avocado emoji, the turtle emoji, the kiwi emoji. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.